Hi students, today class is about the atomic structure. So, what are the particles present in the atom? Okay, electrons and protons and neutrons. Electrons, protons, neutrons are so present in the atom. Those are called as the fundamental particles or subatomic particles. So, what is the location of the fundamental particles or subatomic particles was explained by the atomic structure. Different theories come forward to explain the atomic structure. Among those theories, first theory is the J.J. Thomson model. J.J. Thomson, the scientist, takes the watermelon to explain the atomic structure. So if we cut the watermelon, we observe two things. First one is the red color flesh and black seeds. So in that watermelon, black seeds are embedded in that red color flesh. So he applied as is the concept to atoms. Atoms also contains the positively charged mass, okay, like the red color in watermelon. And here in watermelon, seeds are embedded in that, and in atom, negatively charged particles are embedded in the positively charged mass, okay. So negatively, he takes the electrons as the black color seeds and positive charge as the red color plus, like so. Here electrons are, according to J.J. Thomson, electrons are embedded, negative charged electrons are embedded in the positively charged species in atoms. So but this theory fails to explain about how this negative charge, positive charge holds the electrons inside it, okay. And he cannot explain about the concept of nucleus. What is the nucleus? It cannot be explained the concept. And next theory, Rutherford. So this model is called as the planetary system. In planetary system, planets are revolves around the sun. In atom also, mass is located at the center. That center is called as the nucleus, atomic nucleus. Here around the nucleus, electrons are revolve, like the planets are revolving around the sun. Here electrons are revolves around the nucleus according to Rutherford's model. Electrons are revolves around the nucleus in circular paths, okay. So his model is the planetary system. So but the failures of this model is, as long as electron revolves around the nucleus, after some time it may loses its energy, it may falls on the nucleus, but atom will undergoes the collapse. But this was not happening in the atoms. That was not explained by this Rutherford's model. So to overcome all the demerits of J.J. Thomson and Rutherford, a Danish scientist named Niels Bohr in 1913 explained the atomic structure. That model is called as the Bohr's atomic model. What we call Bohr's atomic model. He explained the atomic structure in 1913 with the help of Planck's quantum theory and Rutherford's model. He gave some postulations about the atoms. So first postulation, so the electrons revolves around the nucleus in a closed circular paths, okay. So look at the diagram here. Middle one, center of the atom, it is having the nucleus, positively charged nucleus. So around the nucleus, electrons will revolve. So in a how they revolve in a circular path. Those are the circular paths. The electrons revolves around the nucleus in a closed circular path. Those circular paths are called as the orbits or shells. What we call orbits or shell. So what is the definition of orbit? They may ask the questions. The circular path around the nucleus where the electron revolves, that circular paths are called as the orbits or shells, okay. So middle one, plus charge, is the nucleus. In the nucleus, protons and neutrons are present. So around the nucleus, electron will revolve. This taken from this point was taken from Rutherford's model, okay. And next, so we may, for one atom it is having so many orbits. How can we recognize that orbits? So what is the location of orbit? We cannot find out. We have to give the numbers to those orbits. So hence So Niels Bohr designated those orbits as n is equals to 1 first orbit, 2 second orbit, 3 third orbit, 4 fourth orbit. So here n is the principal quantum number. Okay, so the maximum number of electrons present in an orbit can be calculated by using the formula 2n square. Okay, so here n is the orbit number. For example, how many electrons will present in first orbit? 2 into 1 square. First orbit n is equals to 1. 2 into 1 square, that is equals to 2. So first orbit can accommodate only 2 electrons. So these orbits are also designated as like the cells. What are those cells? K, L, M, and O. K is the first cell, L is the second cell. N is equal to 1, that is the K shell. N is equals to 2, that is the L shell. N is equals to 3, that is the M shell. L is equal to 4, that is the N shell. Like that you can decide that. For example, N is equal to 1, that is called as the first orbit and K shell. N is equal to 2, second orbit and L shell. So first point, electrons revolves around the nucleus in a circular path. Those circular paths are called as orbits. And second postulation is, so we are giving the numbering to those orbits. Those are the 1, 2, 3, 4 or K, M, L, like that. Okay, next postulation, as the orbit number increases, then what happens? Okay, as the orbit number increases, the size and energy of the orbit also increases. So let us compare the first orbit size and second orbit size. So orbit number increases, the size of the orbit also increases, as well as the energy of the orbit also increases. That is the third postulation of Bohr's atomic model. And next one, so this postulation is very, very important. So as long as electrons present in an orbit, so they neither lose the energy nor gains the energy. अब energy loss का वो energy ने gain चले. As long as electrons present in an orbit, they neither lose the energy nor gains the energy. Hence, those orbits are called as the stationary orbits. What we call stationary orbits. Okay, this is the fourth postulation of Bohr's atomic model. So next, as the electron which is present in an orbit, it is having some angular momentum. That is the MVR, angular momentum. MVR is equals to integral multiple of h by 2 pi. Integral multiple of h by 2 pi. Bohr gives the equation to the angular momentum of an electron, that is equals to the integral multiple of h by 2 pi. That is MVR is equals to NH by 2 pi, where M is the mass of electron and V is the velocity of electrons, R is the radius of orbit, and here N is equals to orbit number. For example, we have to calculate the angular momentum of first orbit. Then for first orbit, N is equals to 1. Then substitute the N value in the above formula, then we get the angular momentum of first orbit. MVR is equals to h by 2 pi. So for second orbit, MVR is equals to h by pi. 2 cancel, h by pi. Okay. Next, here electrons may goes to the excited state and the ground state. Then they will comes the ground state. When they goes the excited state and when they comes the ground state, that can be explained this postulation. Electron jumps from lower energy levels to higher energy level, or lower orbit to higher orbit when they gain the energy, by gaining the energy. Okay, electron jumps from lower orbit to higher orbit by gaining the energy. Okay, and they jumps from higher orbit to lower orbit, by releasing the energy. Electron jumps from lower to higher by gaining the energy and comes from higher to lower by losing the energy. And the difference in between the energy of those two orbits is given by the formula E2 minus E1 is equals to h nu. E2, that h nu is called as the energy pocket. How much energy is released, how much energy was gained by can be calculated. The difference between the energy of two orbits can be calculated by using the formula E2 minus E1 is equals to h nu. Here E2 is the second energy level, higher energy level, E1 is the lower energy level, h is the Planck's constant, nu is the frequency of electron. Okay, so this is the postulation 6. And next, when the electron revolves around the nucleus, it tries to move away from the nucleus. That is called as the centrifugal force. Look at the diagram here. So when the electron revolves around the nucleus in a circular path, it tries to move away from the nucleus because electron is the mass object. It tries to move away from the nucleus. That is called as the centrifugal force. And here the centrifugal force of electron can be balanced by the electrostatic force of attraction. Here is the attraction between the negatively charged electron and positively charged nucleus. ఎలక్ట్రాన్ న్యూక్లియస్ చుట్టూ తిరుగుతున్నప్పుడు అది ఎప్పుడైనా ఒక మాస్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ అనేది చుట్టూ తిరుగుతున్నప్పుడు బయటకు వెళ్ళిపోవాలని ట్రై చేస్తుంది. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఒక స్టోన్ తీసుకొని మన ఫింగర్తో ఒక థ్రెడ్తో కట్టి మన ఫింగర్తో తిప్పుతుంటే అది ఎప్పుడు బయటకు వెళ్ళిపోవాలని ట్రై చేస్తుంది. Here also the electron tries to move away from the nucleus, but it is balanced by the attraction between the positively charged nucleus and negatively charged electrons. Okay, these are the 7 postulations of Bohr's atomic model. So next, this theory also having some limitations. So first limitation, Bohr's model can explain about the spectrum of atoms which contains single electrons only. This theory can explain the spectrum of atoms which contain single. Okay, electrons unte maatrame Bohr's theory applicable. For example, H plus hydrogen ion. Hydrogen is having only one electron. So for hydrogen, Bohr's theory can explain. Okay, and helium plus 1 and lithium plus 2. For these ions, Bohr's theory can applicable. And it fails to explain about the spectrum of atoms which contains the more than one electron. What is meant by the spectrum? Splitting of lines. When we studied about the atoms, when by using some spectrums like the NMR spectrum, like so the atom details were like visualized like lines. Those lines are called as the spectral lines. Okay, it can explain the spectrum of atoms which contains more than one electrons. And it fails to explain about the wave nature of electron. According to this model, so electron is the particle, but according to Heisenberg, so electron is also having the wave nature. So the wave nature cannot be explained by this Niels Bohr theory. And next, it also fails to explain about the Zeeman and Stark effects. Zeeman and Stark effect. What is the Zeeman effect? Splitting of spectral lines in presence of the magnetic field is called as the Zeeman effect. What is the Stark effect? Splitting of spectral lines in presence of electric field is called as the Stark effect. So those two effects cannot be explained by this Bohr's atomic model. It also fails to explain about the formation of chemical bonding. Okay, it also fails to explain the formation of chemical bonding. So these are the major limitations of Bohr's atomic model. Okay, right? Thank you.